Why are you trying to hide your name and badge number?
I am not.
You answer to me.
I do not.
I would like it if we could uphold the Constitution and allow freedom of press in our courtrooms.
Watch out, that's a lawbreaker right here. You like to break the law, be careful. No, I don't answer to you.
Okay,
I'm free. You're dismissed.
I am not dismissed.
Yes, you are.
Who the fuck is at my window?
Do we enforce law around here or do we enforce will?
Who the fuck are you? Shining your lights in my window!
Okay, you need to leave.
I don't have
You're
to.
dismissed.
I am not dismissed.
You are.
Actually, I think I'll do a foot control in this area.
Go ahead. Don't step on my property. You will be trespassing. Live here.
Lower your voice.
You need to leave my property. You are trespassing. You are trespassing. You're going to be going to jail. Follow the law. Say, what's your name and badge number? Why are you harassing me? Oh, you didn't? Were you fucking blind the 5 times you drove by? Which one of you honked at me?
Maybe you can put your hands on me. We won't be needing the gloves, sir. You need to take the gloves off. We don't need the gloves. Nobody needs to put their hands on me. And I do not need escorted.
Leave my property now. This is private property. You are trespassing. Leave now.
You're not welcome this fucking
What is
property.
your name?
On Monday, September 30th, 2019, at approximately 6 o'clock early evening, the Defenders of Rights spot a CPD officer conducting a speed trap in the alley directly behind Jessica's home. He has been sitting in the alley for about 10 minutes. She confronts him with an open mind and an open heart. She's been trying to teach CPD officers about the law, but none ever listen. This officer respectfully listens to her, but says he won't look into it, just like the rest of his department.
Let's do a speed trap. 1711. Car number 19186.
Now in this video, we're going to be discussing about many facets of the law. Our primary goal is to teach others everything we know about the law, so that one day they can protect themselves, their families, etc. There is going to be a lot of law for you to take in, but you're going to want to stick around to listen, because you need to be prepared to handle these corrupt public officials.
How are you doing?
Good.
Good.
Are you trying to catch individuals that are involved in commerce?
Involved in commerce?
Yes, commercial use.
North Texas speeders.
Speeders that are involved in commerce.
I have no idea what you're asking me.
The statutes are for those who are involved in commercial use.
There are many sources that provide the definition of commerce. One of the primary sources to obtain its definition is in the United States Code. Title 49, Transportation, United States Code, Section 5102, Definition of Commerce. 1. Commerce means trade or transportation in the jurisdiction of the United States. A. Between a place in a state and a place outside of the state. B. That affects trade or transportation between a place in a state and a place outside of the state. Or C. On a United States registered aircraft. Commerce, along with many other words, are what you call a term of art or a word of art. A word or term of art is a word or phrase that has special meaning in a particular context. The law has its own language, what many call legalese. So when dealing with the law, it's imperative you locate a word or phrase from a legal source, such as your state code, the United States Code, Code of Federal Regulations, and even law dictionaries. The best law dictionaries are Black's Law and Bouvier's Law. Let's look at Black's Law Dictionary, 6th edition, the last edition to not be altered to hide the true meaning of some terms, for the definition of commerce. Black's Law Dictionary, 6th edition, published year 1990, page 269, definition of commerce. The exchange of goods, productions, or property of any kind, the buying, selling, and exchanging of articles, intercourse by way of trade and traffic between different peoples or states and citizens or inhabitants thereof, including not only the purchase, sale, and exchange of commodities, but also the instrumentalities and agencies by which it is promoted and the means and appliances by which it is carried on, and transportation of persons as well as of goods, both by land and sea. Commerce is transportation. Transportation is commerce. If you use the streets and highways as a place of business for commercial purposes, such as truck drivers, taxi drivers, school bus drivers, etc., then you must have a driver's or operator's license.
I'm going to catch anybody that wants to speed up and down.
So you're not aware the difference between a motor vehicle and an automobile? Are you aware of the difference? No?
Probably say something silly on camera.
Well, a motor vehicle is actually dealing in commerce, and an automobile is a private automobile.
Okay.
Let's define motor vehicle using multiple sources. Title 18, Crimes and Criminal Procedure, United States Code, Section 31(6), Definition of Motor Vehicle. The term motor vehicle means every description of carriage or other contrivance propelled or drawn by mechanical power and used for commercial purposes on the highway in the transportation of passengers and property or cargo. Title 18, Crimes and Criminal Procedure, United States Code, Section 31(10), Definition of used for commercial purposes. The term used for commercial purposes means the carriage of persons or property for any fare, fee, rate, charge, or other consideration, or directly or indirectly in connection with any business or other undertaking intended for profit. Indiana Code, Title 8, Utilities and Transportation, Section 8-2.1-17-11, Definition of Motor Vehicle. Motor vehicle means a truck, a tractor, a trailer, a semi-trailer, a motor bus, or another self-propelled or motor-driven vehicle that is operated upon a public highway for the purpose of transporting persons or property for hire. It is evident that a motor vehicle are the conveyances used upon the streets and highways for extraordinary purposes, commercial purposes. A motor vehicle is used to transport persons or property for compensation or for hire.
Thank you for the information.
That might be something you want to look into, because a uniform traffic ticket deals in commercial use as well. Those are only intended for those involved in commercial use.
Well, the more you know.
What speed are you looking at to catch people doing?
What kind of speed would be dangerous for everybody living in the apartment complex on this side of town?
Yeah, no, I do appreciate that, because people do actually speed around this corner.
I know.
And that is something that I've actually always been concerned about living here.
Oh, I agree.
But I do know that, yeah, for anyone to receive a ticket, you're supposed to check and make sure that they're actually traveling in a motor vehicle and that they're involved in commerce.
Okay.
You haven't heard anything about that?
No.
No idea? Yeah, that might be something you want to look into, and maybe as well let your partners know as well, and definitely be something that we should all know and be aware of.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
So do you see a lot of speeders up and down this road?
I mean, I'm not good at, I guess, telling how fast someone's going, but I do notice people speeding around the corner, so.
Sure, yeah. Now, do you live in one of the houses here?
Yeah, I live right around the area.
Yeah, probably not if you slow down around here. Do you have kids?
Yeah,
How many kids do you have?
I've got 3.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see if we can slow them down for you.
But I would appreciate it if we can check the intended use for their vehicles, make sure that they're not driving privately.
The intended use. This means everything when it comes to traveling in any vehicle upon the streets and highways. The intended use of your conveyance determines its classification, whether it is a motor vehicle or a private automobile or private conveyance. There's case law and statutory requirements that explain the concept of intended use of vehicles. Every state of the union's codes are worded differently, but the legislative intent is the same. In the Indiana Code, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles is statutorily required to obtain the intended use of one's vehicle when a private citizen applies for a driver's license. Why? Because the weight of the vehicle along with the intended use of a vehicle determines what class of driver's license one receives. Indiana Code, Title 9, Motor Vehicle, Section 9-18.1-3-1, Application Violation. A person that desires to register a vehicle under this article must provide the following information. 3. A brief description of the vehicle to be registered. 4. Any other information required by the Bureau, including A. The manufacturer's rated capacity for the vehicle. B. A statement of the vehicle's intended use. C. The vehicle's odometer reading. And D. The declared gross weight of the vehicle. So for those of you who don't use the streets and highways for compensation or for hire, for commercial purposes, your intended use would be for private purposes, therefore you are not required to register your conveyance. In other words, the BMV employees are statutorily required to deny the applications of those who are not required to have a driver's license. But are they? No, and therefore the BMV has been violating the law and the people's right to locomotion and personal liberty. So those who don't use the streets and highways for commercial purposes and are not required to register their conveyances nor required to obtain a driver's license is even in the Indiana Code. Indiana Code Title 9 Motor Vehicle Section 9-18.1-2-2 Vehicles not required to be registered. The following vehicles are not required to be registered under this article. Number 7. A vehicle that is not designed for or employed in general highway transportation of persons or property and is occasionally operated or moved over the highway. The phrase designed for or employed in general highway transportation is the state of Indiana's way of saying used for commercial purposes. It is clearly evident that the BMV employees are failing to abide by statutory obligations, and so is law enforcement. Both administrative agencies deny the private citizens their constitutional right to locomotion and personal liberty, the right to travel, in their own private conveyances.
I feel like that would be a little overreach on my end.
Oh, no, that's your duty. Because the uniform traffic ticket, those are only to go to individuals who are involved in commercial use. You can look up on the uniform traffic ticket website as well and confirm that.
Now what Jessica just mentioned about the uniform traffic ticket is something that everybody has to deal with here in the Indiana Republic when they get pulled over for a traffic violation. With the website that you see up on the screen, indiana.gov, it is here where you discover what a uniform traffic ticket is and who it applies to. Let's check it out. Now this is the main web page for Indiana. This is where you can go to find anything for Indiana. When it comes to the Indiana Constitution, the BMV and all its branches, anywhere from all the public officials. And of course, you will find the website that we had up on screen just a minute ago. Here it is. This page talks about the Uniform Traffic Ticket, UTT for short. And the UTT derives from the Electronic Citation and Warning System, ECWS. Let's read Project Overview. Approximately 1 million traffic citations are issued in Indiana every year. Now that ECWS is in production, law enforcement agencies using the system can electronically print tickets at the time of a traffic stop. Other officers are still handwriting citations, and the forms used vary from county to county. ECWS lets officers electronically record citation information in the field, eliminating the need for redundant manual data entry, drastically reducing administrative work and increasing the safety of Hoosier roadways by quickly identifying dangerous drivers and reducing the time needed for a traffic stop. Let's go down a paragraph. The ECWS system is currently being used by Indiana State Police officers statewide and officers in over 300 other law enforcement agencies. The application is available in a laptop computer version for patrol cars. A handheld portable version for motorcycle officers, water or foot patrol is currently being used by ISP motorcycle troopers, Indiana Excise Police, Indiana Department of Natural Resources, and over 20 local law enforcement agencies in the field. ECWS and training is available to law enforcement at no cost. How it works. Officers use a scanner to read the driver's license and vehicle registration. A new citation is then generated in the ECWS system with the driver's information automatically entered. The officer records the appropriate offenses and court information and prints a paper ticket for the offender. Here it is. In cooperation with the U.S. Department of Transportation, ECWS produces a uniform traffic ticket, UTT, that identifies commercial drivers. Yes, it identifies commercial drivers. Amazing. So everybody who has received a uniform traffic ticket, a UTT, and you can tell by every citation that you get, go up at the very top and you'll see a UTT number. It's identifying you as a commercial driver. That's because everybody who's operating a motor vehicle is a commercial driver. Okay? It further says it down here. Let's go down a paragraph. The ECWS initiative, in conjunction with the Odyssey initiative, allows courts and clerks to transmit serious infractions by a commercial driver to the BMV electronically instead of by mail or fax, increasing the flow and accuracy of conviction data. Okay? Transmitting serious infractions by a commercial driver. That's what a UTT identifies. So every officer out there who is citing people for traffic violations, just so you know, you're printing off a form, a UTT form, and it's identifying the offender as a commercial driver. That is the message that Jessica is trying to convey to this officer. Okay, and when they are a commercial driver, when they're a driver, period, they're operating in commerce. Therefore, they need a license, they need to register their vehicle, all of that. Therefore, they are bound by all the statutes, codes, and regulations that follow with commerce. When you're traveling in your own private conveyance / private automobile, it's a different story. Then it's reasonable regulations, such as having headlights. And you gotta remember, the law has its own language. Okay, there's words of art and terms of art, like we mentioned before. Traveling and driving are words of art. They are terms of art. A bunch of lawyers gathered around and tried to figure out how to deceive the masses, and that was it. That's one of the ways. And in fact, let's look at driver, shall we? Driving is an activity that is commercial in nature. Yes, it is. And according to Bouvier's Law Dictionary, 8th edition, volume 1, published year 1914, page 940, driver is defined as one employed in conducting a coach, carriage, wagon, or other vehicle with horses, mules, or other animals. One employed. So one using the streets and highways as a place of business. An extraordinary use for commercial purposes. Next, Black's Law Dictionary, revised 4th edition, published year 1968, page 585. Driver is defined as one employed in conducting or operating a coach, carriage, wagon, or other vehicle with horses, mules, or other animals, or a bicycle, tricycle, or motor car, though not a street railroad car. A person actually doing driving, whether employed by owner to drive or driving his own vehicle. Let's go to other sources. Indiana Code, Title 9, Motor Vehicles, Section 9-13-2-47. Driver means a person who drives or is in actual physical control of a vehicle. Okay, that right there is meant to deceive you. Why? Because in other sources, it defines it just how we read it from Bouvier's and Black's Law dictionaries. Title 49, Transportation, Code of Federal Regulations, Section 383.91. Let's go down here to number 2. Driver means any person who operates any commercial motor vehicle. That is correct. And the CFR has it again. In Section 382.107, driver means any person who operates a commercial motor vehicle. This includes, but is not limited to, full-time, regularly employed drivers, casual, intermittent, or occasional drivers, lease drivers, and independent owner-operator contractors. There's a consistency here. And an operator means the same thing as a driver. Okay, according to Title 49 Transportation Code of Federal Regulations, Section 390.5, operator is C driver. Driver means any person who operates any commercial motor vehicle. Okay? That's what a driver is. Someone who operates any commercial motor vehicle. Okay, and we got even some case law on it. Custer versus State. This is the Court of Appeals of the Indiana Republic, 3rd District in 1994. One operates a vehicle if he drives it or is in actual physical control of it upon a highway. Drives it. One operates a vehicle if he drives it. Same meaning. Down here, Whelan versus Director of Revenue. This was the Missouri Court of Appeals, Western District in Bank in 2000. The term drive, driving, operates, or operating means physically driving or operating or being in actual physical control of a motor vehicle. Operating driver means the same thing. They are equivalent to one another. Another word of art that verifies a driver is someone involved in commercial activities is the term passenger, and you wouldn't believe it. Passenger is another term of art. According to Black's Law Dictionary, revised 4th edition, published year 1968, page 1280, passenger is defined as a person whom a common carrier has contracted to carry from one place to another and has, in the course of the performance of that contract, received under his care either upon the means of conveyance or at the point of departure of that means of conveyance. One carried for hire or reward, as distinguished from a guest, who is one carried gratuitously. That is, without any financial return except such slight benefit as is customary as part of an ordinary courtesy of the road. So for those of you who are traveling privately in your own private conveyance and you have someone with you, they are considered a guest. Whereas if you're operating a motor vehicle and you're a driver and you're transporting other persons, those persons are considered passengers. Funny, isn't it? No, it's not funny. This was meant to deceive us. Let's look at the term traveling. According to Volume 25, American Jurisprudence, Highways, paragraph 427 on page 717, the terms travel and traveler are usually construed in their broad and general sense where used in this connection, rather than in a narrow and restricted one, and the duty and consequent liability is extended so as to include all those who rightfully use the highways viatically, and who have occasion to pass over them for the purpose of business, convenience, or pleasure. Let's look at Burst versus State. This was the Supreme Court of the Indiana Republic in 1883. The word traveling has no very precise or technical meaning when it is used without any limitation. Its primary and general import is to pass from place to place, whether for pleasure, instruction, business, or health. Another source, Black's Law Dictionary, revised 4th edition, published year 1968, page 1671. Traveler is defined as one who passes from place to place, whether for pleasure, instruction, business, or health. That was also in Lockett versus State. That was the Supreme Court of the Alabama Republic in 1872. Another term of art that we need to look at is license. According to Black's Law Dictionary, revised 4th edition, published year 1968, pages 1067 to 1069, license is defined as authority or liberty given to do or forbear any act. Leave to do thing which licensor could prevent. Permission by some competent authority to do some act which, without such permission, would be illegal. Permission to do a particular thing, to exercise a certain privilege, or to carry on a particular business, or to pursue a certain occupation. Permission to do something which, without the license, would not be allowable. To license means to confer right or power which does not exist without it. A permission by a competent authority to do some act which without such authorization would be illegal or would be a trespass or a tort. A permit or privilege to do what otherwise would be unlawful. All of these have been determined by courts of the United States. Are you hearing this? A license gives you a privilege. Okay, a license is for privileges. And remember, we have the constitutionally protected and secured right to locomotion and personal liberty, which is the right to travel upon the streets and highways freely without having that right infringed by the state or federal governments. Which means that we do not need a license, we do not need to register our vehicles, we don't need motor vehicle insurance to move about freely upon the streets and highways in our own private conveyances / automobiles. This is our right. Now, you do need a license to drive. You need one to operate a motor vehicle. You see, the difference is in the wording. It's the terms of art that they use against us. One more thing we're going to look at. When an officer pulls you over for a traffic violation, what does he ask for? License and vehicle registration, please. Unfortunately, the Indiana Code does not provide the definition for vehicle registration. I don't know if any other state of the union has it in their codes or not, but you definitely want to take a look. Wherever you're located in whatever state of the union, go to your codes and look. Especially go to the bills that your legislature passes, because those are the real law. That's the real law. Statutes are not law. They are commission revisions and codifications of the interpretation of the bills. But anyways, I diverse. In Title 49, Transportation, United States Code, Section 14504A, Unified Carrier Registration System Plan and Agreement. This is what we're looking at. You go down to 10, Vehicle Registration. The term vehicle registration means the registration of any commercial motor vehicle. Under the International Registration Plan, as defined in Section 31701, or any other registration law or regulation of a jurisdiction. Yes, you heard it right. Vehicle registration means a registration for any commercial motor vehicle. So when an officer is asking you for your vehicle registration, just so you know, you're operating in commerce then. The Indiana Republic has implemented and complied with the International Registration Plan Agreement as evidenced in Indiana Code Section 9-18.1-2-9. Let's go ahead and look at that. Since the International Registration Plan is in the definition of vehicle registration in the United States Code, let's see what the Indiana Code has about it. And there it is, Indiana Code, Title 9, Motor Vehicles, Section 9-18.1-2-9. A person may operate a vehicle that is an apportionable vehicle under the terms of the International Registration Plan upon the highway if the vehicle is registered under the International Registration Plan with a valid and unexpired cab card. So, the state of Indiana has complied with the United States Code, of course it has to, and it also has complied with the International Registration Plan. It's in the Indiana Code. The United States Code, 49 U.S.C. Section 14504A10, defines vehicle registration, which means the registration of any commercial motor vehicle under any registration law or regulation of a jurisdiction. So when a private citizen registers their vehicle and obtains the registration identifies their vehicle as a commercial motor vehicle. I figured y'all want to hear these definitions and understand to the extent that these corrupt public officials have gone to deceive you. We were blown away when we first started investigating into this, and we still are, but now we understand. Now we know their game plan, we know what they're doing and what they plan on doing, so let's fight back. Definitely do your own research, look into your own codes, your own bills that the legislature passes within your State of the Union. You must investigate and research. Alright. Let's get back to the video, shall we?
I understand you right. So if someone's not involved in commercial use,
They are not subject to the statutes.
they're allowed to speed?
Well, they're not. They have. Well, yeah, of course, everybody needs to drive reasonably. That way, there's not an accident.
Every state of the union has a speed statute, and every statute has very similar, if not the same language used within the statute. Here's the state of Indiana's speed statute. Indiana Code, Title 9, Motor Vehicles, Section 9-21-5-1, General Restrictions, Violation. A person may not drive a vehicle on a highway at a speed greater than is reasonable and prudent under the conditions, having regard to the actual and potential hazards then existing. Speed shall be restricted as necessary to avoid colliding with a person, vehicle, or other conveyance on, near, or entering a highway in compliance with legal requirements and with the duty of all persons to use due care. B. A person who drives at a speed greater than is reasonable and prudent for the given weather or road conditions commits a Class C infraction. Remember, statutes are not law. They are agency and revision committee interpretations of what is actually in the bills from the legislature, which is the actual law. Statutes apply to public officials and those who have contracted with the government. In addition, the speeding statute specifically states in part, a person may not drive Driving is associated with commerce, so those who are operating motor vehicles must abide by the speed signs posted along the streets and highways, not travelers. Travelers and drivers must travel at speeds that are reasonable and prudent under the conditions then existing on the streets and highways. But travelers are not bound by motor vehicle laws if they are traveling in their private conveyances.
If there's an accident, of course, you're liable to, any damages or anything like that. But as long as you don't injure anybody, no, you can't. By law, you can't actually. It's against the law to, try to ticket someone for if they're not involved in commercial use.
So if I were to get into my own truck,
Yeah, as long as it's a private automobile.
speed up and down in front of your house, and there's nothing the police could do to me.
I mean,
That
you
sounds
can,
very
you can.
dangerous for your children.
I mean, you can try. You can do that, but. You can. Some people may say it's dangerous. I mean, that's not my decision, but it's the law. So I just want to make sure that I inform individuals on the law.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good at all, but
It's the law, though. Yeah, it's all about statutes and commerce and.
so what prevents someone from just lying to me and saying that they're not?
Well, when you have your vehicle registered, it becomes a motor vehicle. So we've all been lied to and manipulated, told that we had to go and get a vehicle registered, but only motor vehicles need to be registered, not private automobiles. You're allowed to travel in a private automobile. We all have the right to travel. That's our right, to travel.
Whereas defined pursuant to Jarrell versus Orlando Transit Company, the Supreme Court of the Florida Republic in 1936, and it asserted, the theory underlying these decisions, and many others not included, is that the streets and highways are constructed at public expense for the convenience, comfort, and use of the public. If they are permitted to be preempted or appropriated for private enterprise, then their very purpose is defeated, and those who bear the burden of their construction are deprived of the objective they set out to accomplish. There is then no such thing as a natural right to use the public highways for commercial purposes. Such limited right as the public may grant to use them for private business is merely privilege that may be restricted or withdrawn at the discretion of the granting power. Whether the grant is by license, permit, or franchise is immaterial. The power to do so is plenary and may extend to absolute prohibition. The right may be granted to one and withheld from others, or it may be withheld from all without transgressing any state or federal constitutional guarantee. And there's hundreds more of court cases that declare we the people have the constitutional right to locomotion and personal liberty, also known as the right to travel. But there's no inherent right to use the streets and highways for commercial purposes.
I'm sure I'm buying all that, but certainly entitled to your opinion.
Yeah, no, it's not opinion. It's all in the Indiana code. You can look into all of it. The driver's license that we all actually receive is actually means a part-time commercial driver. When you go down to the BMV when you're 16, you're actually applying as a part-time commercial driver.
The Defenders of Rights video titled Learning the Law, Episode 1, Part 2 goes in depth about the operator's license, so for those of you who are interested and desire to know the truth, go check out that video and the other Learning the Law episodes. The operator's license statute is Indiana Code Section 9-24-3-4.5. It's vague and unambiguous, but the Defenders of Rights can interpret law very well. An operator's license in the state of Indiana entitles the holder to operate a motor vehicle that is registered as having a gross weight of less than 16,000 pounds and used to transport property for hire, meaning the transportation of goods or property on occasion for compensation. Oh yes, an operator's license is for the holder to use the streets and highways for commercial purposes. A majority of the people in the Indiana Republic have unlawfully been issued an operator's license. Well, now you know what it's for.
So that's how we've all been manipulated into, getting a driver's license and registering your vehicle. And
So did you register your vehicle?
yeah, I did. I wasn't aware of any of this at that time.
Did you register it as a private?
Well, it's when you register anything, it's commercial use. It's all considered public property.
Well, I think I'm going to still try and catch a couple of speeders, just keep traffic at a reasonable pace.
Well, would you do me that favor and go ahead and look into that?
No.
You don't want to look into the law and see, you know, if we're
Well, see, I
doing
think
things the
now
way we need to be doing?
it's either one, trying to make a defendant position, or two, you're trying to talk them into getting into an argument with you.
No, I don't want. I just want to know if you're informed on that about commercial use and the fact that we actually have the right to travel in a private automobile.
Sure, yeah, and full transparency is I'm probably not going to look into that. But I do plan on trying to stop a speeder or two here in front of your house to slow them down, especially in front of the apartment complex here. I think that'd be a good use of my time. Right now.
Yeah, no, I don't like people when they're speeding either. But I also don't believe that people need to be fined if no one's been injured. If there's not been an actual crime, a crime involves an injured party by law. So to fine somebody or to punish them, they would first have to, you know, commit a crime. So I don't feel like, you know, we should really punish people that haven't committed crimes. So by law, there has to be an injured party for there to be, you know, a crime.
Yeah, I've not actually heard that point of view before. That's interesting.
Never heard of victimless crimes?
Oh no, I've heard of it.
Yeah, that's a victimless crime. Yeah. Yeah, that's why they call them victimless crimes, because a crime by law, there has to be a victim. And if there's not a victim, then by law, there's not actually a crime. So that's why that's why people call them victimless crimes, just to kind of clarify the difference between a crime and there's a victimless crime.
I got
It's kind of a new made up term to kind of differentiate the two difference. Do what?
Like a new thing that's going to come out or no?
No. A lot of people have heard about that you have the right to travel. A lot of people know about that. So,
Well,
yeah,
that's
definitely
like,
nothing new.
Like a sovereign citizen type ideology.
Sovereign citizen. That's a made up term as well. That's not really a real thing, because you can't. We're a sovereign nation.
Well, is sovereign citizen?
You can't be a sovereign and a citizen. It's completely made up. It contradicts itself. That's impossible. It doesn't even make sense.
Okay.
It's kind of a made up term by the government to kind of people who support the law and, you know, study the law, to kind of put a bad, you know, to just kind of, I don't know, just to kind of turn around the sovereign citizen kind of.
So would it be more accurate to say like sovereign? It's a little bit redundant probably, but like
a sovereign citizen by government terms is someone who doesn't follow the law, someone who breaks the law and thinks that the law doesn't apply to them. That is a sovereign citizen by government definition. But a sovereign, someone who's sovereign, means they govern their own body. They are not governed by, they're governed by God. They've got their rights from God, not by the government. Which we've all got our rights from God. Everybody did. No one can take or give your rights away. That's, God-given rights.
So how do we go from here? Do you just want to record while I do the traffic enforcement, or?
Yeah, I'll probably just record for a while, I guess.
Okay.
That's why I just really wanted to kind of communicate with you a little bit and see if you knew about the commercial, the commercial terms and all that stuff. Oh, looks like you got someone coming in. Oh, they're going.
Can you do me a favor and can you move over just a scope that way?
This way?
Or the other way?
Towards the box?
Yeah, just a little bit more about.
Give you some sight that way. Oh, here, how about I move this way a little bit? Is that good for you?
Better if it's over there, but if you want to stand there.
Yeah, I'll probably just move back and forth, I'm sure, a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I'm in your line of sight down the road. But no, yeah, I appreciate you, communicating with me, and because that is what we want to do, is we want to create a connection. There's clearly a disconnect between, citizens and the officers, and there needs to be a connection. That's, we need there to be a connection. We need to make sure that, and that's another purpose, is to make sure that everybody is aware of the law. Because when you end up in a situation where the officer or the citizen, somebody doesn't know the law, that's very dangerous and very confusing. Especially if the officer doesn't know the law. If the officers don't know the law, that's even more dangerous. When a citizen doesn't know the law, that's even more dangerous. That's the most dangerous situation. So, especially when the citizen, they don't know the law themselves, but they know that, something wrong is being done to them. So, they don't know how to kind of protect themselves or assert the law. So it gets, confusing and dangerous when nobody knows the law. So that's why it's about safety. It's about learning the law, making sure everybody's aware of, exactly what's going on. And obviously the government has done things to manipulate situations, and I don't know. Yeah, it's a lot to kind of sit around and explain to someone in a first time,
That's pretty heavy stuff.
Oh no, it is. It turned my world upside down when I first learned about it. Yeah, no. They use words to manipulate you, like the word person. By law, do you know what the word person actually means? There's a legal definition, and then there's a layman's term, the regular term that we all use every day, and then there's a legal definition. The legal definition is a person is actually a corporation. It's a business, a corporation. So anytime you get any legal documents, it says person is subject to this, person is subject to that. They're not talking about you, me, living, breathing human beings. They're talking about a business, a corporation. Have you heard about the all caps? Why your name is in all caps on legal documents? You haven't heard about that either? Well, that's a legal term as well. It's the, what is it? It's been a while since I've looked into all this stuff. I learned it a long time ago, and yeah, I haven't really looked into it now. But it's the all caps is the what is it? It's shit, I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, it will here, I'm sure. But it's the format they use. Obviously, all caps. That stands as a title. Okay, awesome. Yeah, you got your radar gun.
Yeah, the old laser gun. That's
Yeah,
just a little bit.
that looks old.
Oh no, this is state-of-the-art equipment.
Really?
Oh yeah, this is.
You gotta calibrate that every day and
Yeah. Well,
get all that done.
Self-calibrated.
it's already calibrated.
Self-calibrated. It does
Oh, really?
a thermal check, and if it doesn't check out okay, it's not working at all.
Okay, well that's good. Most of what they do in the courtroom is unlawful. So, and that's why we all need to, because that's our duty. That's our duty as citizens, is to, to know the law, understand the law, and hold our public officials accountable. That way, because corruption is guaranteed within a government. That's guaranteed. There's no government that's ever existed that's never had, corruption arise. So that's guaranteed. If nobody knows the law, nobody is there to hold anyone accountable. I mean, it's just going to fester and continue to grow. So, I mean, and that's the issue, is we need to make sure that, especially in our own communities, we need to make sure that the law is, being upheld, that the Constitution, we all take, not, I don't, but all public officials, you guys all take an oath to that Constitution. But a lot of times the statutes and the reason why you take an oath, why would we take an oath? We know that the Constitution's there, we know it's supposed to be whatever, but why would we take an oath? Because we know they knew that there was going to be statutes, there was going to be codes put into place that would go against the Constitution. They knew that would happen. They knew judges would make rules that, would go against the Constitution. So our first line of defense are you officers. That's why you have to take that oath, so that, you uphold that oath over the statutes, the codes, and how fast were you saying you were looking for people to be going?
That one was going 37.
37. That's 35 or 30. I mean, so that's 7 over.
Come the yellow one. See, they see me and they slow down.
Now, what is by law? How fast over the speed limit can you go without being pulled over?
You said how fast can they go over? What was the first question?
Yeah. How fast can you go over by law without being pulled over? I know.
Go over at all.
Oh, really? Oh, from because throughout my whole life, obviously, I've always been told that you can go 5 over the speed limit, and that's just hearsay. Obviously, just like, hey, go get your driver's license at 16. That's hearsay. I never looked up the law to figure out if I needed to do that, so that's why I wanted to make sure if. So yeah, you can't even go. So you can get pulled over for going 1 mile over the speed limit.
Yeah, you really could.
Oh wow.
That doesn't happen very often.
I wouldn't think so, unless obviously they just want another reason to pull you over. Yeah.
Well, people tend to drive a little fast anyway, so if we pull over everybody that went
Yeah.
1 mile an hour over, we pull over a lot. That's not what we're trying to do. So what's your name?
I'd actually just like to exercise my right to be anonymous. I'm surprised that you actually don't know my name, though. Really? Have you not been on the department too long?
Say it again.
Have you not been on the department too
I've
long?
been on for 13 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Here, Columbus? Okay, so you've never heard of my channel or any
Which channel is that?
YouTube channel?
Well, there's a lot on YouTube.
Okay. That's just weird that I'm surprised that you wouldn't have known about it.
You tell me then.
The Defenders of Rights.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've heard of
Yeah.
that channel.
Okay. Yeah, that would be us.
Oh, so you're Jessica.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was saying. I was like, okay, there's no way you have not heard about me.
No,
There's-
no, no. I've heard of your channel.
Okay. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I assume so. Yeah, and that's not my objection, is to not, like, sit there and argue, or, I want there to be a connection. That's what I want to happen. I want there to be a connection. I want everybody to know the law. I want citizens to be able to trust the officers. I want the officers to be able to trust the citizens. I don't want people to say,
I got know there's a stink bug in my window.
oh, you know what? I've never seen those around here.
Look out, I'm going to flick it.
I've never seen those around here until just recently.
Well, now I got to burn my car. Well, now I got a question for you.
Yeah, probably.
Really?
I'm sure.
Nothing from GCI.
No, but I want other people to also know the law and hear the things that I'm telling you about commercial use and those things as well. So, I mean, it's not something that everybody talks about. I had never heard of it in my life. Did you know that your Social Security card is actually exact same thing as a debit card? You can use it as a debit card.
Well, now that's what I want to do.
Well, you can. You can.
How does that work?
You can find the federal bank that your Social Security card is linked to. It's on the back of your Social Security card. It's in usually it's like A through H. It's either in a red or a black letter, and that letter is linked to one of the federal banks. And you can type in your name, your Social Security number, your bank that it's linked to, while you go buy something, pay for it, whatever, your bills. It's actually supposed to be for your bills, because obviously green bills, if you haven't heard, that's debt money, right? Everybody's heard that's debt money, green bills. Gold doesn't back it. What backs the bills? We do, the people. That's why they own us as corporations, because we back the dollar. They sell us to other countries and whatever. But yeah, now I don't even know. What are green bills? They're Federal Reserve notes. Look at the top of every green bill. It says Federal Reserve note. What's Federal Reserve note? It's a promissory note. What's a promissory note? It means a promise to pay. So anytime you hand someone $10, you're actually handing them a promissory note that says, I promise to pay you this $10 back. You're not giving them $10, you're giving them a promissory note that says, I promise to pay you $10. So it's illegal because if you was to pay a debt, if you had a $10 debt and you pay that $10 towards your debt, you actually just created $20 debt. You just hand them another $10 promissory note. So now you have $20 debt. So it's illegal to pay debts, whether it's,
Sounds horrible. I don't have no debt.
yeah, the government is corrupt. The government is corrupt, and the officers are our first line of defense. So that's where we need to make the connection. And if we can't make the connection, it's going to keep going down. It's illegal as hell what they're doing. Illegal.
There's bastards.
I know that stuff has to be somewhat interesting to you. It has to make you click a little bit and wonder, like, what the hell?
Honestly,
It has to make you wonder.
I think it's interesting.
It's the law. That point and blank.
People believe that.
It's the law, but it's the law. It's not about believing it or saying that's right, that's how we should do it. It's saying it's the law, and that's just the way it is. Yeah. And the way things are right now, I mean, we are literally forced to break the law regularly. By, just like I said, paying debt with green bills. That's illegal. That's all that's doing is building our debt.
So if I go to,
That's illegal. You can't do that.
so if I go to a certain day, it's a hot day outside, I want to get a pull-up pot. So I pay with $1 to get a pull-up pot. That's illegal.
Well, that may be different because that's with someone personally. That may be different. I don't know. What I'm talking about that I know for sure is with banks, with the government, things like that, things that are legal debts, any type of legal debt. Yeah. That may be something I'd want to look into. I don't know, but. Obviously, they're not going to arrest you for it, but by law, it is illegal. That is what the law books say.
I've never heard that before.
What about if someone was recording in a courtroom? How would you feel about that?
Never say that one time.
If they were recording, a video camera, if they were recording, let's say if I had court and I took my video camera and I wanted to record my court hearing, would you, if the judge was to say, arrest this person, there's no recording in the courtroom, would you arrest that person? Well, no, you don't have to. Huh? Well, yeah. I mean, that's what the Nazis used to say too. Take orders or get fired. It's not about law, it's about taking orders. And that's what it is. That's what it's turned into now. It's about taking orders. And that's what we want to remind everyone. It's not about taking orders, it's about following the law, upholding that oath to the Constitution, the utmost important, that's the most important law and oath is to the Constitution. Both constitutions, Indiana Constitution and Constitution of the United States. Same thing with unmarked vehicles. In some places, you can't pull anybody over if you're in an unmarked vehicle. Because, well, that'd be unsafe, obviously. Unsafe, because then it makes it easy for anybody to, just buy red and blue lights, put it in their window, stop anybody in the, in the country or wherever.
I do agree with you there.
Yeah, I did. Can I get your name and badge number?
Sure. My name is Sergeant Westenberry and my badge number is 197.
197.
You got it.
And give me a tour of the vehicle.
There's not really anything interesting in here.
You don't have any high-tech guns or
It's nothing interesting.
anything crazy in there?
Nope.
Not today.
Anything crazy. The dog over there doing business.
Huh?
There's dog over there doing
Oh yeah.
probably more interesting than me.
Oh no. I don't think he likes it when we watch him poop.
Alright, I'm gonna get out of here.
All right, we'll take it easy. Be safe. Yeah, definitely look into that stuff. Tell your buddies too.
Have a good rest
It's
of
about safety.
Take care.
Just make sure everybody knows the law. Yeah, you too. It's good talking with you.
Artlist.io.
See if he actually leaves, guys. Is it leaving? We're gonna get back out on the live.
Music licensing reimagined.
There she blows. There he goes.
Down near the lake, yes, no room for mistakes, no. Indian friend was shot in the back by his
Artlist.io.
Good to be good, yeah. Bad to be good now. Better open your eyes if you go down to the lake. You go down the
Music licensing reimagined.
I wanna stay with you. I wanna stay with you. I wanna stay here through thick and through thin. Keep touching my skin.
Artlist.io.
My father said no. My mother said yes. My brother
Music
said
licensing
oh,
reimagined.
you better